You might be a graduate student if you consider caffeine to be a major food group. It's no longer weird to study all Saturday night. You find yourself citing sources in conversations with your mother, or you may find yourself explaining to children that you're a 20th grader. My friend Allison is someone who has found herself in each of these situations as she is a second year graduate student at the University of North Carolina in the clinical psychology program. As a result, Allison has mastered the art of studying, and she jokingly paraphrases Dr. Seuss to say, I could study in the rain, I could study on a train, I could study in a car, I could study in a tree, I could study in a house, I could study in a box. I could study with a mouse. I could even study with a fox. Her background as an undergraduate student took place at North Carolina State University, where she initially went to major in an agricultural area. And then, as she fell in love with the psychology classes that she was taking as a freshman, she eventually decided to major in psychology. She was involved in Greek life and various other organizations and graduated with a 3.8 GPA. She knew early on that she wanted to go to graduate school and took the means to do so. She worked as an assistant in a psychology research lab for course credit and, of course, to gain experience. She completed a practicum at a local mental health clinic, which also added to her experience. And she completed an honors thesis under the supervision of her favorite psychology professor. Her current activities in graduate school include her coursework, her internship, and her teacher assistant responsibilities. The coursework, she says, is actually less class time, but more assignments, readings, and work outside of class. She says that tests are no longer multiple choice, true, false, short answer, etc. Instead, they require extensive critical thinking and lots of essay-type questions. The most surprising thing for Allison was the amount of reading that graduate school requires. Her internship is located at a local mental health facility. At the beginning, she says she was only allowed to sit in on initial client evaluations. Currently, however, she is able to conduct some of the evaluations under the strict supervision of the supervisor of the clinic. Next, she hopes she will be sitting in on actual counseling sessions in order to learn the techniques of the profession. As a teacher assistant, Allison assists in a psychopathology undergraduate course. Her responsibilities include being available for office hours to help students with questions they may have about assignments or the course itself, assisting the professor with grading assignments, and assisting the professor with monitoring the very large class on test days. The hardest part about this aspect of graduate school, she says, is critiquing the work of students that really aren't that much younger than her. She also says it's not fun to give out bad grades when students sometimes don't deserve good ones. Her immediate future plan is graduation, of course, in about 3 years, where she'll graduate with a doctoral degree in clinical psychology. She also has career goals and personal goals as well. After graduation, she hopes to work for a few years under the supervision of a senior clinical psychologist at a counseling clinic. Eventually, the goal is to open her own clinical psychology practice in her hometown to give back to the community that she grew up in. Her personal goals is to be somewhat established professionally and then settle down and get married. When she and her husband are settled down, are financially stable, and are ready overall, she hopes to have children. Very later on down the road, when she is ready to retire, she hopes to do so in Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina, that she considers a quiet and the most peaceful place on earth. Then, of course, she plans to live happily ever after. In conclusion, Allison had what she considers to be a successful 4 years as an undergraduate student. She is now in the midst of the stressful 5 years of graduate school that is absolutely fraught with hard work. She is optimistic, however, that it will all be worth it in the end when she graduates with her PhD and can provide for the family of her own that she hopes to one day have and give back to the community at the same time. As an articulate speaker once put it, a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. After 5 years of graduate school, Allison is confident that she will most certainly be a skilled sailor when all is said and done.